Man, I think we all know that, God even used people that did and committed murder. And I tell you why. Because the scripture says we will know them by their fruits, which can also be translated as whatever a person brings forth, whatever deeds you might recognize, this is the standard of valuation that you put forth. This is how you say, like, yeah, I know what he is about, because he did this and this and this. But I tell you one thing, leave the final judgment unto the Creator, or whatever you may call him, when you are not introduced into the face and still watching that video. So you can basically know them by their fruits, but what the fruit means before God finally, and which classification and how much weight he puts on the thing, that's beyond comprehension. That's what you can't comprehend. So when Moses was a murderer, you have to view it in perspective. One scripture is in Acts chapter 7 verse 22. It says, and Moses was instructed in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, and he was mighty in his words and deeds. You see, sometimes there are people who commit a severe crime and they never get back to their feet. They never prosper. They never add to their knowledge because they curse themselves while transgressing, while not keeping one of the essential laws to not take another living soul's life. When they did that, it is as if they have a mark on their heads where it says, like, from now on, you are doomed to failure. You are doomed to prosper. I think if you recall it, there are many people that you might know who are in the prisons and they really did something severe, and when they come out, they feel attracted to the same lifestyle once again. That would be one example. But here we see that God allowed Moses to learn in Egypt, and I have to say that was before he killed the man. But why would God allow somebody to prosper and learn when he already knows that that person might turn completely wicked? You see? So the story went as follows. He was an Hebrew Israelite, or one person of the chosen people of God, but he didn't knew it until a certain age. Because remember, the mother put him in a basket because there was a child murder going on and she wanted to save the life of this boy. So when she put him in the basket, he finally reached, I think, a handmaid, some woman walking in the Egyptian empire. So she took that basket and she was bringing him into the household of the Egyptians. And from there on he was raised. And he learned and was, like I read, instructed in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. But then a point in his life came where he was basically coming to the knowledge of the truth of his true identity. So he knew, right, I'm not an Egyptian, I might look like them, but my real people are the Hebrew Israelites, the ones that live in slavery among the people I used to think of which I am a part of. Like, he thought he was an Egyptian, but now the truth comes out and he finds out he is an Hebrew Israelite. So from there on, he felt sympathy towards the people who have a yoke, literally a yoke of slavehood around their necks. And then one upon a time, he sees one of those fellow, people of his being beaten by an Egyptian with a whip. And his holy anger, or his anger that made him premeditate a murder, or even involved with an affection, like an affect murder, caused him to slew that Egyptian. So now is the question, why did God use a person that did a murder in the first place. Here's what I want to read out. In Psalms chapter 7, verse 11, it says, God judges the righteous and God is angry with the wicked every day. Ask yourself the question, was the slaveholder wicked by punishing and whipping without no obvious reason that Israelite? From a human standpoint, it's wicked because we all fall short of the glory of God and nobody has the right to exercise and inflict physical harm. So it was a wicked action, and here it says God is angry with the wicked every day. So Moses wasn't far from God's heart while he was committing a murder. You know, you can commit murder and do it out of selfish reasons. Why you shoplift or why you wanna, you know, break somebody's life without no cause or without any greater cause. But in this incident, God saw already that this man has righteous desires. He hates unrighteous. How do you people want to be righteous when you still don't hate unrighteous? That's why you're all in the world, man. That's why you're all behind your computers and just thinking that I just don't want to get out of my comfort zone. If I can keep that life standard up, I will make it until the ends of my days. And at the same time, unrighteousness is going to happen. Unrighteous is going to happen. Because Satan made you believe that you can't change nothing. Which is a lie, man. So, God is angry with the wicked every day. Let's see what Isaiah, the prophet, in chapter 55, verse 8 to 9 has to say. He says about God, for my thoughts, God says, are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. You see, you might view it as a murder, but God saw that the intention was in alignment with the injustice that was going on. So he spared Moses' life and drove him into the wilderness and taught him a lesson by doing so, and even went with him to a quiet place where he can minister to Moses. Many of you need to find a quiet place where they can really hear God for themselves and not need somebody to speak about him as if he is a foreign alien. So God took that time out speaking to Moses, and Moses then was able to refine his character to become a real weapon and a real minister and a real leader and one of the greatest historical figures that we ever know. That's how it went about. God saw the intention, but he didn't feel right about the way he conducted himself. Because at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, what did this action produce? One life lost, but the condition ain't safe and ain't changed. So God wanted Moses to change an entire condition. That's why supernaturally he worked with Moses and helped this people and these children of Israel out of captivity. You hear my point? When you have a good heart, make yourself an instrument of God, for goodness sake, man. And don't sit there and go on this stupid demonstration and think you do a difference, man. When the people who are basically behind all the demonstrations are even running the streets on which you are demonstrating, man. It's so foolish, man. Make yourself an instrument in God's hands, man. So Moses, at the end of the day, God still raised him up because he had the heart on his right place. And if that is the case, he can just cover a multitude of sins that you've already committed, man. Take my word for it. Because me, myself, I was also busy in certain things, you know, that might not be godly. And I was really busy with them. But now he changed the busyness for his kingdom, man.